Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Dead Knitter Society, the Knitting and Grieving podcast. My name is Mira. Welcome to my little corner of the internet where fiber arts and grief intersect. So it's been long enough that I don't remember which episode number this is, because there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I have had a lot of changes and things happening in life. I unfortunately was laid off in July. My position at an elder service agency was a victim of the big, beautiful budget bill. So that's fun. I'm trying to find all of the silver linings and making lemonade out of the lemons. But the truth is that that was a real kick in the taint. I really loved my job. I loved the people that I was able to serve, and I felt like I had a lot of purpose, and I missed that job, and I missed the people that I worked with. So that has definitely been something to grieve. We also last week were traveling for the funeral of a very close family friend. And I definitely, it was the patriarch of a family that I grew up skiing with. And it gave a lot of time, in going to the visiting hours and the funeral, and then sitting and talking with, our dear logical family about grieving and loss and how different it is as it evolves, particularly if you can start to look at grief as an actual entity to have a relationship with. I also, Facebook, the parasocial relationships that we get through social media impact us, I think, really in an interesting way. Because, I'm Facebook friends with someone who lived on the same floor of the dorm as me in college. And this family has suffered just an incredible loss in their 12-year-old daughter. She died just over a month ago. Freak accident type stuff, terrible. And this woman and her husband are being so open and vulnerable with their grieving on social media platforms. And I can definitely see in their posts that they are getting to the point where I was getting when I decided to start to create this podcast, which was the people around me don't want to hear about my grief anymore. And so I would love to normalize making just really safe places where people can continue, whether it's a week, a month, 6 weeks, a year plus. I think we're coming up on 14 months, but I'm at the stage where I'm not counting in weeks and days. It's a different stage, but I still need to talk about it. So here we are. It was definitely comforting to be able to comfort in the way that people comforted me, in the way that I was so cared for after my mom died. And some of my friends waited, months until other people had kind of fallen away, or I had stopped talking to those people, and then they kind of swooped in and provided that care. So I just think that, there's always a place to talk about the people who aren't with us anymore, because I really feel like telling people stories and talking about people is one of the ways to keep them alive in the world. Once people no longer are telling stories about you, if you're gone from memory, then maybe you are truly gone. But if people are still talking about you, then you're still here in the world. And if in 100 years people might be telling stories that include me, I would be incredibly honored. So in the making world, because I definitely, you would think being laid off that I would be a knitting powerhouse. But grief and anxiety do really weird things to my making capabilities. I've been thinking about making some soap for a while now. I'll get there. We did also, I got laid off the Thursday before we left for our cruise. And then when we were cruising, I was told by my daughter's boyfriend that I can't use that term, but y'all know what I mean. So I brought, I'll get to show you, my Silfurberg Tee. Silfurberg is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. It came out fairly recently. The pattern calls for, and I am making it in Farmer's Daughter Fibers Foxy Lady, which is a single ply, fingering weight silk merino blend. And the lighting in here does this zero justice, but it's ever so slightly splitty. But other than that, it's a dream. Like, the hand is amazing. It feels beautiful. And this pattern is like really lovely. The yoke was a total pain in my rear end. I definitely, like, I don't know where I must have missed counting, but I got the correct counts at the end. Whatever, it fits. I did a fit check. It looks great. This is actually the front. I did actually make a mistake on the back lace, but I'm pretty certain you can't see it. And I'm going to go with it. This is the one mistake to let God know that I'm not trying to be perfect. Yeah, but this has been really nice travel knitting. When we were cruising, I realized I had made a mistake farther up that I could not drop down and correct and make it look right. So I spent the entire cruise tinking back on this. And then the other thing that I had brought with me was another pair of socks to start. I have made very little progress on these since I got home from the cruise. For a couple reasons. These are Larch-Ped toe-ups it's a pattern by Laura Nelkin. I am using Knit Picks, like Tweedy fingering weight yarn. And I will say, I'm not sure if maybe this sustained some moth damage because it had been in my stash for ages. And I will post a picture of, I cleaned and organized both my stash and my needle container. I will put that picture up here. Okay, this actually needs its own pictures because this is what we started with. And I pulled everything out and I organized and I did my needle box. Let me know if you want to know what I have in Ravelry that is for sale out of this stash. Let's talk. So see, that's just where the Christmas stockings are stored. We don't have closets, don't judge me. Anyway, so every so often I come to like either a thin spot, but I'm not sure if it's just because this is not like the world's greatest yarn. So these may be a total failure. I also feel like these are kind of nipple-like toes. I haven't actually tried them on my foot because I don't have quite enough length yet. But I'm not sure that I love the extreme pointed toe of this. I'm following the pattern. I kind of like the toe of the ankle biters a little bit better, but these are going to be another like little shorty sock. And this I've just been kind of carrying around for when I can't. This is getting a little bit big to be hauling around. So I've been working like fairly monogamously on Silfurberg. What was the color? This is Whiskey Butte. And like, I saw the mean people on Reddit. Y'all, why are we so mean to each other? The crafting snark on Reddit sometimes, I don't ever want them to find me because I never look good and my house is a mess and I don't have closets and my Christmas decorations are up and it's August. Well, not all of them, okay? That's just where those go. We don't have closets. They were saying that like all of the colorways that this particular yarn dyer does is dirty dishwater, and I disagree. Even though this has kind of got gray speckles on this beautiful ecru, but I think this is going to be a phenomenal like neutral top to wear for business casual outfits. So I'm happy about it. Don't buy her yarn if you don't like the colors. I don't know what to tell you. So, speaking of which, my Beanie Brigade yarn came in. The monthly pattern is for a beret, and I look terrible in berets. So this is just a beautiful, non-superwash, like Highland wool. It's like a light worsted. So I'm going to just look for, or maybe this will be another nice skein to play around with mom's patterns and doing that. I do need to tell you about wrapping up Tour de Fleece because that, my cruise was like the last week of Tour de Fleece. So I did not bring a drop spindle on the cruise. I just felt like maybe that really was entering into insane land. I am glad that I got my little e-spinner. However, I just kept finding tensioning this thing was kind of a nightmare, and it kept overspinning and not taking up the wool. I think now I'm learning that that may be how I was drafting or not drafting. But I finally did. Like today, I had a breakthrough on the spinning wheel. I'd been watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and I finally decided to take one of the Sweet Georgia School of Yarn or School of Fiber, their spinning class. And I think I had a breakthrough today. So it is by no means consistent, and it's by no means good, but I have been spinning through this pound of roving that, I mean, I just started, so there's still a lot, but I didn't want to like use up pretty stuff for the ugliness that is learning. So I gave myself permission to get, this is like dirty dishwasher, y'all. They're not the same. And this is surprisingly, for such a long wool, you would think it would be coarser, but it's actually feels fairly good in my hand. So I'm not sad about it. I do want to show you what I did finish before we left for my, Tour de Fleece efforts. And I'm not done. I actually need to go back and finish doing this. But, chaos. So I made myself a little lazy Kate for my bobbin, or for my drop spindle stuff. Made myself a little lazy Kate. And let's see. This was my very, very first ever. I haven't like put these on a nitty naughty or thwacked them or done any of that finishing stuff for this drop spindle stuff, but it's here for posterity. I finished a white and kind of a gray that are on the two bobbins that are in the Lazy Kate, and I was plying them together on this drop spindle. And I don't know how well you can see it, but like, it's not terrible. That's real yarn, guys. And I baked it. Very happy. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, here's more. This was terribly overspun, I think. And then I also made up this very lovely, like purpley. This was some Corriedale that I grabbed from Revolution Fibers. And again, so this is plied together. I'm finding that the plying kind of, a lot of twist is actually okay for once you get to the plying, because it untwists a little bit in plying. But I want to save the rest of what I have of this for when I'm more proficient at my wheel. So this was what I did in Tour de Fleece this year. Ta-da! But I'm really proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself, actually, because I've been staring at this stuff in my house. Oh, here's a little bit more of what I had on the bobbins from the e-spinner. The e-spinner was a little tricky. I think part of it's because I got like not a very good e-spinner. One day I may spring for like a better e-spinner, but I want to get good at the wheel first. And that way I can ostensibly see having like an e-spinner up in, in our winter condo for like weekends when I'm up there for, skiing. And then if I'm not knitting, I can do a little spinning on my e-spinner. But anyway, so I really do like, I have been staring at this spinning stuff for like my daughter this evening was like, Mom, I remember when I put that thing together for you 5 years ago, and then it sat. And I was scared. But then there's also this part of me that like, I was sitting and spinning today, and I actually made a short out of it. I am low-key mad. I am mad that Mom isn't here to see me finally stop being afraid of my own capability and my own potential. And I wish that she could see me start to live more fluidly and with less rules and with less fear. And I'm just mad that I don't get to show her these pieces of evolution, you know? I can already tell that the day that I do graduate next May, I'm going to be, there's always, I guess, just going forward, there will always be that mad, sad, but happy of knowing that she would be proud of the life that I'm living, but being so upset that she's not here to see it and to be part of it. And also, you know, with less than a year to go on my graduate degree, I have been saying for like, since Mom died, that writing up a pattern book of her patterns won't happen until after I graduate. And then when it does, man, I need to go do that. So yeah. Oh, I need to tell you what I'm wearing. This is my Sugar Bomb crop. This is a pattern by Leslie Ann Robinson. I test knit this for her and I love this. It's a crop, right? Ta-da! But it was a delight to knit. It was knit from the bottom up, and then you split at the sleeves and did the front and the back, and then a little seaming, just 3 needle bind off. I would like to make another one because I like this top. I wear it over like high-waisted pants. That's the other thing that I actually am like, now that I'm like, oh, I am figuring out spinning. I've always been afraid of sewing because Mom was so proficient at it. This is the story. This is my story, not my mother's putting it on me. But like, I always felt like if Mom was good at something, then I shouldn't try to compare. And I really hampered myself by doing that. So maybe next year. I do kind of want to learn to like, I love making clothing by knitting, but I would love to be able to like actually sew some garments. That would be cool. But I think that's a next year project because I have a lot that I'm already like thinking about doing and not really doing very well. So like a consistent weekly podcast, for example, just as an example. But anyway, I definitely have had these thoughts percolating in my head for like the past 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm like, wow, I'm such a bad vlogger because I like should have done a wrap up of Tour de Fleece. I am going to go to a fiber festival on Saturday, just a local one. I know everybody's at Flock right now, but I'm really excited and I do want to make sure that I like include that in next week's podcast. So, because I do just really, it is cathartic for me to talk to you about what's in my brain, and I appreciate you listening, and I love sharing what I'm crafting because I don't really have a robust crafting, in-person social group. And I also need to like go back to my poor neglected journal. It's going to get better. I have a whole week at the end of August where I don't have any schoolwork because I've been doing 2 classes this term, and that has been insanity. That has definitely been a lot. So we're just going to blame that as part of why I did not get my shit together to get a podcast episode up. But anyway, as always, I appreciate you so much coming and listening. And I'm so excited about my spinning progress. I can't even tell you. So I'm looking forward to showing you more of that. The fiber festival that I'm going to on Saturday is the Fiber Revival, which we held at the Spencer Pierce Little Farm in Newbury, Massachusetts. Toil and Trouble, who the Pixie Cardigan is their yarn. My lounging top is their yarn. They're going to be there. And there's also like drop-in spinning sessions. So I'm excited about that. And I think there's sheeps. There will be sheeps. So my daughter and I are going to have a little girls' 2 days. We're beaching on Friday and then fiber festivaling on Saturday. So that'll be really nice. So I'm going to go edit this. And I wish you so much comfort in the people around you. And I wish you a soothing balm in whatever grief you may hold. And I wish you so much joy in your crafting and the bravery to try new things because it's pretty dope. I love you. Mwah. like, subscribe, etc., etc., and I will see you next time.